Yeah. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. And I'm talking with Austin Helms. He's the founder, partner of New Blue Services. Austin, my friend, thank you for being a co-host for the entire month. We'll never have enough time to get through the short life, business life that you live with a whole lot of detail in it, but we've got the entire month to talk to Austin, so let's move on. But I do look forward to next week when we can dig in some more. So Austin, it is official. You have become the co-host, so join in and ask away. Don't be shy. Our guest today is Devo Tindall. He is the Chief Experience Officer at The Brand Storyteller and is Managing Director of Fusion Photography Studio. Devo, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, both of you.
So, Devo, I asked you when you got here, how did we meet? And we don't know, do we?
Well, I figured it out when you were name dropping earlier. I said Sherry, but it was Julie who found me on LinkedIn.
Oh, Julie, got it.
And yeah.
Oh, well, if Julie says it, we do it.
Yeah, so she sent me a message, wanted to let me hear the show, and thought I'd be a good guest for you, apparently. So
Great.
I got somebody fooled.
Well, no, I don't think you've got anybody fooled. I think you're just a secret. Because when I went to your website and did a little bit of research, I thought, this dude, he kind of knows what he's doing. And so I appreciate you being here, buddy.
Thank you for the opportunity.
So tell me a little bit about your background. We get so many people that show up here at the show, and it's difficult to sort of ask them, how did we get here, right? So fill us in on how that happened.
Fast, high level, 30,000. I did the American dream, went to college, thought that was the way I was supposed to go. I didn't have any mentors like Austin over here in the sense of anybody to tell me what was what. I just went to college, got my degree, got a job, took the highest paying job that was offered me, and it turned out to be a blessing to some extent because most of what I do now as an entrepreneur, I had to learn in that corporate experience.
Right.
So I just wasn't empowered to do it. But I spent 15 years in that industry, working with mobile homes, finances, banks. I was in project management, marketing, branding. I literally was exposed to every aspect of the company, as well as all the different types of people from internal and external. And so I just learned a boatload of things. And then at some point early on in the process, I realized that the corporate path was not the one for me. It was uninspired. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to have the freedom and autonomy to do the things that I wanted to do. And I'm a creative at heart, and I was sort of stifled in that capacity. So I was looking for something that I could do where I could sort of fill
That seems to be the core that I hear from people that want to be self-employed: independence.
Yeah.
And the ability to be more creative. Because once you're in a structure, you have to assume the structure is working and successful. Mm-hmm. So anybody running it is afraid to let you outside of it, right? And if you're creative, it just doesn't make you comfortable.
Well, we can go down a rabbit hole on that one, but as humans, we are all creatives. I mean, that's what we were designed to be, is collectively working alongside other people to build something. Like that's, if you go back thousands of years, you'll sort of see that in the culture of every culture that ever existed. But somewhere along the line during the Industrial Revolution, they started dumbing us down and taking away critical thought and saying, just go in here, get your degree, work for the system, follow this, don't question, don't ever deviate, and just make us lots of effing money. And I was like, and so, so we sort of got away from that ideology. And so I just found a way to get back to it, really. But yeah, you're right. Most entrepreneurs that I meet are also felt stifled and lack the freedom and autonomy and creativity. So you're spot on.
So I went to your website, branding agency in Charlotte, North Carolina. What is that exactly? What is a customer profile look like? What's a good customer for you?
So it's any entrepreneur who is looking to build a business. This is what I originally thought. And anybody, so if I may back up for a minute, this is my fourth business now, and I sort of learned along the way that one of the things that was missing was that small businesses and entrepreneurs, even established businesses, weren't really clear on their messaging and who they were selling to and what their unique value proposition was. Because if you can clarify that and crystallize that and really understand what you're doing, you sort of have your own internal North Star, but more importantly, you're able to speak to the people who actually need your service. And so that took a lot of years of trials and tribulations and two failed businesses to figure that out. But once I sort of got that secret sauce and understood how to do that, I started selling that recipe for small businesses and entrepreneurs.
I tell people all the time, do not hire anybody that hasn't failed before. I mean, you need that, right?
Yeah.
You need to know what not to do and what that feels like, because you're not going back again once you know that.
Or don't. I had a conversation with an individual the other day. He was a business coach, and I asked him, "So who is your coach?" And he's like, "Well, I don't have a coach." And I was like, "Well, why do you expect people to invest in you if you don't have a coach of your own?" So same thing. If you haven't failed, don't work with me. If you're a coach and you don't have your own coach, you're telling me that coaches aren't worth enough money to invest in. So why would we invest in you? So you know what I mean?
Right. So when you started this journey on your own, right? Walk me through, and I asked the same question of Austin. Is it different than what you thought it would be? Because most people, when they start, they have this mental view of what they think things are going to be. Did it turn out that way for you?
I mean, if there's anything I've learned in my 45 years on this planet, that life is a squiggly line, and we sort of thought that we would go straight and narrow going here, but man, it's back and forth and zigs and zags, and so no, I mean, it's impossible to say it's what I thought it would be. I don't know that I had any expectations of what it was supposed to be. I moonlighted sort of part-time while I was trying to figure out how I could really start making money while I was still working in the corporate world. And I would come home from my 9 to 5 and I would go straight into doing my hobby at the time, just trying to figure out how do I make money.
We call that a side hustle now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
They used to make fun of that. Now it's okay to have a side hustle. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to answer that question. I've thought about that in a reflective capacity, but I just didn't know what I didn't know. And so it was really a matter of survival early on, which I used to think was okay as an entrepreneur. Like, I'm a survivor, it has like sort of that really nice mystique to it. But now I don't see it that way. I sort of see myself as a thriver, being able to sort of figure out the things that I've learned along the way. So I guess from that perspective, yeah, it's uniquely different.
My partner who deals in larger deals, he called me a shark, and I didn't know what he was talking about, right? And what he was saying was, "Hey, Joe, you just keep moving, right?" And he's right. I literally just continue to move and keep what works and drop what doesn't work. And after 40 years of doing it, you start to learn what to head towards or not to move towards. But one of the hardest things I've had to do is choose coaches. Tell me how to do that, because I got to tell you something. The only way I've learned who a bad coach is after I've hired them.
Yeah.
And I don't mean bad as in they were no good. I mean bad connection with me.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a few ways, and I think this is probably different for everybody. It's just really, it boils down to you need to understand what you need a coach for in the first place, right? Are you looking for a therapist type coach? Are you looking for somebody to be a mentor type coach? And if you can clearly understand and articulate what the problems you feel like you're suffering from initially, whether it's scaling a business, making more money, imposter syndrome, maybe you have insecurities of unresolved trauma as a child, like who knows? I've got all of those. So I was looking for this. I'm looking specifically for a very specific type of person that could come in and be a mentor for me, hold me accountable, and be able to be candid and raw with me when it was necessary, but at the same time, be able to be thoughtful and point out my gaps. So I don't know that there is a recipe for that, but I would say if you're looking for a business coach, do your research on them, ask around, get some credentials from them and references and like have real conversations with some of the people they've worked with. And also I think there's an intuition piece of it. Like you have to be able to trust your gut. Can you imagine sitting in a bar, having a drink with this dude or bringing him home to meet your children or your family or your parents? Like, is this somebody you'd want to spend time with? Or are they just a really good salesman or saleswoman? So again, for me, it was just, and by the way, I'm like you, I failed with a couple of opportunities with coaches in the past. But I was really astute to sort of honing in on what I wanted out of it. And when I saw that it was going in a different direction, I quickly made that pivot. But there's also a thing where you can outgrow each other as well. So you can get to a point in your career where the coach that was useful for you for the first year and a half may no longer be useful for you because you've evolved or they've changed directions. Like, so there's a lot of different subtleties and nuances that go into that.
Right. So when I look at your website, I kind of see you as this marketing coach. Is that a fair assessment of that?
No, I'm a branding coach first and foremost, but I have built a marketing team around me to help me with the branding. So, but I am a coach for all intents and purposes. So yeah, but branding is really at the core of what I do. And just to clarify, brand, a lot of people think branding is just a logo and a nice website, and it's not. Branding is literally every single touch point on your customer journey and thereafter. So how do you
say that again so everybody listening could get that.
So it's really important to understand. A lot of people have this idea that branding is just like, what's my outward appearance? What's my website look like? Or what's my cool glossy logo look like? Or all these different things, right? But it's not. It's all of those things and everything else. It's every single touch point on your customer journey, whether it's your website, your social media, maybe you have your car wrapped, or it's how you present yourself. It's how do you dress? How do you talk? How do you show up? Is it what I'm saying?
Employee morale and what's the word I'm looking for? Culture. That's the word I was after. Is that part of it?
100%. So if Joe and I work for you, and Joe is gung ho about sharing your message and talking about his company, his boss, to his friends and his family, but I'm going home bad mouthing you, and I'm like, I hate that Joe, man. Every time I got to go to work, it's just like sucks in.
Right.
I'm branding you to all the people I know, and so it's really important that your brand is your people, it's your voice, it's your taste, it's your smell. And I'll give you
that's an interesting take.
Yeah. So I'll give you.
You ever wonder what they think about you, Austin?
Yeah, everybody's watching you at all times.
Wait, hold on. There's a difference. We're not saying that you have to be liked by everybody. We're not saying you have to be liked. We're saying that your team has to be in alignment with your values and your vision of what your company does and the problem they solve.
You are listening to Local Biz Now.
We'll
We'll be
return
right
to
back.
Local Biz Now with entrepreneur Joe Vagnone in just a moment on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
If I had a better board operator, that wouldn't have happened.
What do you guys use this for?
Never take the blame. In the mornings, they spin that to see what the prize is of the birthday person will get. So you call in for somebody's birthday, and then they put their name in.
Got it. Cool.
The main studio. Were you ever at the main studio in Statesville?
Mm-mm.
The main studio is actually in Statesville.
Okay. Cool.
How'd you get hooked up with these people? You just had a show idea? Or you...
No. 11 years ago, a coach friend of mine said that the way I was conducting my business was too small. I'm a one-on-one guy.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, you probably won't meet anybody better one-on-one than Joe, right? But I'm not a group guy. I don't stand up and, meaning all those years I've been doing the small business event, I never stood up and talked and spoke, and that's not my thing. And he said, Joe, you need to be able to present to more people. And he made contact with the radio station and offered for him and I to be on a show, a single show. Brad Roach, who's a mortgage salesperson, one of the top mortgage salespeople in the country, invited us on his show to do a show. So Wayne and I went on the show, and I probably prepped for that show for like 2 hours, had 20 pages of notes and, all this kind of stuff to be on this radio show. Never been on the radio before. I get on there, and we're only on for like 15 minutes, and it was the fastest 15 minutes. It just flew by. And when it was over with, the owner of the station, as soon as I walked out of the studio and got to the owner of the station, was just on me and was just asking me all kind of questions. Well, little did I know he was thinking about selling the station. He was thinking about selling the station. And so it started that then he said, man, you need to have your own show. And next thing you know, 11 years later, here we are.
Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone continues now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah. You are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina, where we hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because this is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Before we continue talking with Devo Tindall, he is the Chief Experience Officer at the Brand Storyteller and Managing Director of Fusion Photography Studio. We got to do a little business. Fire it up, young man. We got a brand new board operator, and I've been dying to make fun of him, so maybe he'll mess this up and I can make fun of him.
Flames can be fierce, but they can also fuel tranquility. Discover the serene side of life with me, Josh Johnson, as we help you explore the world of cigars at Burner Cigar. Ignite your passion for relaxation and elevate your moments.
And for those of you that are listening on the radio, I'm holding up a sign that says, "This cigar is on Joe." If you go by Burners, hold up a cigar, put the photo on your social media, your first cigar is on me. I will be at the Small Business Expo in Huntersville tomorrow. It is the Lake Norman Chamber Expo. Come on by there. I will have this sign and the poster, and you can get your picture, get your picture taken, drop it on your social media, and I've got a humidor there of cigars that you can take your pick on. Burner Cigar, they are just exceptional people. It is an exceptional operation, and I thank them for being the sponsor of Local Biz Now. Again, go by the Lake Norman Chamber Expo tomorrow, and your first cigar is on me. Burner Cigar, located in Brookdale Village and also Highway 16 in Denver. Okay, we did good. I was really hoping that new board operator messed that up, but he didn't mess that up. He's making it hard for me to pick on him, Austin, and he's making it hard for me to get him a nickname. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a problem. We got to stump him up somehow. Okay, that being said, Devo, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, this show tries to give some advice, move people in a direction that they feel good, and it was the time was well spent listening to the show. What advice would you give somebody thinking, haven't done it yet, but thinking about getting started in a small business?
Well, first of all, I thought the show was over when you said thank you. I was like, oh, that was quick. That was my 15 minutes of fame. I was like, I must have said all the wrong things. What advice would I give an early entrepreneur? Wow, where do I begin? I think first and foremost, don't quit your day job. You just need to be. You need to.
I love that statement. That's absolutely correct.
You just don't quit your day job. You have to understand. You may have this brilliant idea, but make sure that you've taken the time to vet it out, whether it's through an organization like ZoomUp, whether it's through a mentor, whether it's through a coach, whether it's through friends and family. Take some time to figure out what value this new great, juicy, audacious ideas that you're bringing to the market or hope to bring to market is, and how are you going to make money, and spend some real time on figuring out what that's going to look like. That doesn't mean you have to have this business plan or all these things drawn up. It's just make sure that you have everything that you've thought about in your mind's eye can be materialized into something that can eventually replace your day income so that you can do this full time. And that might not happen right away, and be willing to put in the blood, sweat, and tears.
So, Austin, I wouldn't even mind to get both of your idea on this. I've been telling people for years, first of all, I am not a coach. I tell people all the time, I'm what's considered a consultant. I'm going to tell you what I think, and if you don't want to listen, that's your own business. But, but I'd be curious to get both of your thoughts on this. I've been telling people for years, I love the decision to have a small business and your spouse work for the man or the woman. I like that. My wife is for 37 years worked for a large corporation. It affords me the ability to take those calculated risks. How do you guys feel about that? I'm curious. You got an opinion on that?
Well, I don't think my opinion is solely responsible. I think my wife has to make that decision first and foremost. I think there's a lot of other variables that would go into that decision, whether you have kids, whether you don't have kids, what's your lifestyle, what sort of opportunities do you want to create for yourself? Do you like to travel a lot before that decision is made? But for me, I don't really have an opinion about it one way or the other. I personally, my spouse is involved in our businesses, so she runs operationally, sort of keeps everything running smoothly and flowly, and all of the staff and all the HR stuff. Well, so that I can go out and do what you just said, which is run my business. So there's that perspective. Personally, I think it probably depends upon your relationship with your partner.
So, Devo, you don't know this, but I've been doing this show for 11 years for one reason only. They like when you disagree with me, and so it's okay to disagree with me. The owner calls that good radio, so it's all right. It's okay.
Yeah, I got no problem telling you how it is. I think it depends upon your partner. What kind of support system do you have with your wife or your partner?
Austin, you got an opinion on that?
Well, I'm not married. I have a girlfriend, and so she can do what she wants. It's not my decision. But I think to me, it's more about what financial backing do you have? I don't think it matters because I have a friend who the husband and the wife are both entrepreneurs, and like kind of what risk level you want. I think if you don't, I mean, when I used to speak to college students, now I tell kids not to go to college, just become a plumber. You'll make way more money. But you know, I think that you're in a fail-free zone until you have children, until you have like a child. And I don't have a child, so like if I go and lose everything, I know Mama Amy Helms will take me right back, and I can sleep on the couch.
That's right.
Now, I might get humbled and I'll be a little depressed, but I can go home. And that I think that piece is like, I'm so blessed just to have that. I mean, and like that,
I agree.
So I think it's just it really all depends. And you know, I don't know. I know some badass women entrepreneurs and some guys who stay at home and they work for the man. So I don't know. I think it really just depends, and it really it depends on where your risk level is, and it also depends on how much money you got behind you and how much money you want to make, and all your back to the Ford Focus mentality is what's your burn rate.
Right.
That's what's going to.
So, Devo, I go to your website, and I'm looking at it. It says my process takes you from bland to brand. Let's go through these because you've got them numbered. So let's quickly go through these now. You're not going to be able to dig in, and you're not going to be able to go back to 1963 and tell me all about this stuff, right? But we've got
old.
We've got 5 things. Let's try and hit them. Okay. Number 1, brand messaging, and the essence of that. Walk me through that.
That's the soul of your brand. That is the je ne sais quoi, if you will, in French. It's like the soul. It's the spirit. What does your brand believe? At the end of the day, what do you stand behind? Like, and what do you want people to perceive you as?
Okay. The second thing is you've got kick-ass visuals. That's the first time I've heard that. What is that?
So your visuals are the visual perception of what your client sees about you. It's your social media content. It's your website. It's your business card. It's your branded shirt that Austin's wearing over there. It's how you dress. It's all of the things that are outward facing, whether you're a billboard advertisement or you have a television commercial. It's all of the things that you want people to perceive about the reality of your brand.
Got it. Okay. Number 3. He's doing good, isn't he? He's staying right on that. Okay. How do I say that word?
Amplification.
Yeah, I couldn't say it. Amplification.
So that's your marketing. You asked about, am I a marketing guy? So once you have this branding down, your amplification is taking that message, like we're doing on this radio show right now, and broadcasting it out to the ethos of your universe. You're amplifying your brand so other people can then see it.
And you help them decide exactly how to do that and where to do that.
Yeah, so we have a really unique process in our brand discovery that really outlines what your business stands for. It's the foundational blueprint of what you're going to do with this great idea. And then once that is cemented in this essence and these other things we talked about we create a strategy for you so that you can digitally and traditionally market that business to the right audience.
I have a question around that. So like it's when you know, we were talking about what makes people like, how do you push them to start a business? When should you start a business? Like, what advice do you have for folks that I had to rebrand my business? Because, again, I told you I thought it was a joke. Like, oh, we'll get it going. But then I had to do a full rebrand because somebody else on the trademark. I mean, what piece of advice do you have somebody early on in their business that's trying to get something off the ground? Like, how important is branding?
Branding is literally the cornerstone, the keystone of everything you should be doing before you start a business. Because what happens if you don't brand your business up front? All right, let's just pretend that the 3 of us are starting a business right now, right? We have this really cool idea, and we just throw egg in the basket, but we don't take the time to clarify our message. We don't take the time to clarify what our North Star is. Why did we start this business? We don't take the time to clarify what problem do we solve for our customer. What makes your plumbing business or all your other awesome adventures that you're doing uniquely qualified than everyone else doing the same thing? Because there's 1,000 of me, there's 1,000 of you, there's 1,000 of you, right? If you don't take the time to clarify that message, you're going to get halfway down the process, and you're going to start realizing you're not attracting the right customer, you're attracting the wrong customer, you're not attracting enough customers. So there's something that you didn't do at the beginning of that business to clarify what that foundation is. So it's really important. Brand is not just the design aspects. It's literally the blueprint of what your business is going to eventually achieve. So I think I do this because I don't think there's any trade-off for it. Like it is literally everything in business to me.
And sometimes us small business people, we just skip past it.
100.
We
most
think
of
we
us.
know. We assume so much that's not right.
Well, we're so excited. We have this really cool idea. I just want everyone to buy from me. Give me the money. And I want to solve this. I want to do this. And so what happens is we forget to sort of build. It's like a home. Like when you first build a home, what do? build a foundation, right?
So next thing is social media.
Social media, never before in the opportunity of any small business owner have we had the opportunity to connect with more people on the planet. And if you can figure out how you want to show up on social media and really do that and crystallize that message, you can connect with 7.5 billion people on the planet somehow that might potentially be a network for you, a connection for you, or a buyer from you. So it's really important.
We got less than a minute. Optimization.
Optimization is just taking all those things that we've done and learning the lessons, looking at the data, looking at the things that worked and didn't work, and then tweaking them and going back at it again.
Devo, if somebody wanted to reach you, buddy, how could they do it?
www.thebrandstoryteller.com.
One more time, because this is radio, you know.
It is you can find me on the website. It's the fastest way, which is www.thebrandstoryteller.com.
And Julie has got that on Facebook for you as well. Sir. Devo Tindall, thank you, my friend, so much. The brand storyteller. I really do appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks. I appreciate the time. Thank you both.
Yes, sir.
And Austin Helms, founder and partner of New Blue Service Group. Austin, thank you, my friend. I will see you next week.
Sounds great.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. And if it's Monday afternoon, your business matters. See you next week.
Thanks, fellas. That was great.
Serving you better than ever before.